someone asked, what do I think really happens after death? What do I think really happens after death? That is a deep, deep question, especially after the Topanga Teenage Crush. What do I think happens after death? I forget who said it, who said this, but someone said something along the lines of dying is the same as being born. The feeling of death and what happens after death. Like if you want to imagine what happens when you die, just imagine what it was like to be born. And if you imagine what it was like, it was, if you want to know what it's like to die, just imagine what it was like before you were born. So like you're dead, you're on this end of the spectrum, and then you're born, and then you're going to this end of the spectrum. Like you're before and then you're after life. And for some reason that always stuck with me. It made sense to me. Because before I was born, I don't remember shit. I don't remember anything. Maybe I was in some place. Maybe my soul was trapped somewhere or trying to get into a body. I don't think that. I think that dying is a lot like what it's like before you're born, which is just nothing. There's no experience. There's no waiting room. There's no purgatory, heaven, hell. And for me, this has actually been one of the biggest leaps ahead in my life, is coming to terms with the fact that there probably is no afterlife. I don't believe there's an afterlife. I don't believe there's anything that's waiting to judge us. I think the judgment happens while we're on earth. And that has actually caused me to value my time here much more. When I was growing up going to Catholic school, going to church every weekend, and even in college, I was in a Christian group for a little bit in college, my freshman year. And so much of the narrative is living to get into heaven, that you want to be saved to get into heaven in Christianity. Jesus Christ is your savior, and your goal is to get into heaven. And then once I stopped believing in God, and once I stopped going to church and being a Christian, I was forced to question my motivation for things. And I realized that when I do good things, there's definitely a selfish aspect to it. And that varies depending on what you're doing. I don't think anything is truly altruistic, because doing good things for other people makes you feel good. It makes me feel good. And so I definitely get a little, boost from volunteering or helping someone out. And then I'm also seen as a good person, or people, it ups my reputation. And so there's always going to be a little part of it. And I think it's good to actively be aware of that part, because if you're not, you can trick yourself and be like, oh, I'm better than everyone because I like volunteered twice at a soup kitchen. And, you can kind of like fall into that thing easily, which I have, where I'm like on a streak of doing good things. Like I'll help my grandma take out the garbage, and I'll go volunteer somewhere. I was volunteering at Helping Hands, which helps blind people do tasks on the weekend, like get groceries and stuff like that. And you hit a good lick, and you're like, oh my God, am I better than everyone? Like that Taylor Tomlinson joke where she's walking around in Target after she's engaged with the ring on her finger, and she's like, am I better than everyone? And you can fall into that, especially if you don't recognize that there is a selfishness to doing good. So, and I try to minimize that, but I'm aware. I'm a human being. I'm doing good things in part that I want to be seen as a good person. But then also my motivation for doing things is just because I'm here and because I can. I don't think there's a heaven. I'm not trying to get into heaven, and I didn't become a bad person. I think I actually became a better person, because my rationale is, okay, if there's no point system, why should I help this person move out of their apartment? And what I keep coming back to is because I can, because I'm here for a short fucking time. and I have the ability to do it. Also, like I said, it'll make me feel good. Doing good things in the world. I believe any action you have also has a sort of tracer to it. I know this sounds weird and wild, but I do think actions have a life. Like when you do a good thing, you put out good energy into the world. And when you do a bad thing, you put out bad energy in the world. And the more good things that you do, the more good energy you do, and it rubs off on people. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if 100 years from now, we actually discover that like there's a force that we weren't able to see because it's not on our visible spectrum, but like there's a force that happens that goes along with our actions, that you do a good thing and we can actually observe that like you just exerted a positive force in the world. Not just like, oh, he did a good thing, but like, no, like you somehow made a molecular change in the universe or maybe in someone's neurons in their brain because you did a good thing for them, like on a traceable level. And then the same thing would be true if you do a bad thing. So, yeah, what do I think really happens after death? I think I would be pretty close to what happens after death. If you want to know, just imagine what it was like before you were even born. And for me, realizing that there's no afterlife. I know some people believe in an afterlife or multiple lives. And that's fine. That's interesting to me. I would love to talk to people that have different views than me, especially on religion and afterlife. But I think for me, the lack of an afterlife being available, the lack of that choice has made me seize the moment more, has made me be less procrastinistic, if that's a word, and just realizing that, this is it. There is no round two. I'm not going to get another interaction with this person in the afterlife. I may never see this person again. And so I better be on my shit now because I can. And because everything I do, it's either going to be a positive or a negative force. Every action, it's hard to be completely neutral. So everything you do is going to be positive and negative. And I have a sign on my door that says, be kind and pay attention. And that's from a meditation that Sam Harris had in his Waking Up app. And it stuck with me. He said in one of his meditations, he sends out daily meditations every day. He sends out daily meditations every day in a daily manner. He sends out every day this daily meditation. And in one of these meditations, he says something about us only having two jobs in life, really, and anything that we're doing. Just no matter how much your task changes or where you are, the only two jobs you ever have in life is be kind and pay attention. And so I have that on my door as a reminder. Maybe I'll get a tattoo of it before I walk out into the world from my apartment, especially when I'm pissed or stressed or whatever, just to remember. Or even if I'm happy, like just to remember to share that with other people, to always be kind, always pay attention. Don't be reactive. Like if you feel something, let it run through you. It's okay to pause. You don't have to just fucking like knee jerk to everything that someone does to you, and recognize it. So that's my thoughts on the afterlife.